I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. He's Mike Somich. We're coming to you live from Churchill Downs. This Splickers Off. What's up, boys?
Hello. How's everybody?
Doing pretty good. It's a long day. Rain was on and off. It was a lot of fun. Good horse racing. Secret Oak looks awesome. It's interesting oaks, that's for sure. It's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we are. It's been a long day, like Somich said. We're struggling a little bit. Blues are on. That's not going well for these guys. So they're
quite poorly. It's
going downhill for them even further. But we did see the coach win the Kentucky Oaks. So how about that?
Incredible. You know, it was unbelievable. And we were in separate spots, right? You and I watching like you were in the paddock. I was on the track watching them come in. And we saw each other and we were both like, she looks like a different horse today. And Patrick was like, yeah, he's saying he looks great. She looks great. It's like, yeah. When we saw her in Arkansas, we both looked at her and we are like, she doesn't look good. Today, looked like $1 million and ran like it. Really great.
Yeah, we were in the paddock, me, Somich, and Patrick, and she walked a foot away from us, really. And it was like, damn. Because obviously we were watching Kathleen and Echo and all those horses, and she looks like she could face the Colts. That's how she looked.
She looks like a Colt. She's
yeah,
built like a Colt. Like you have just the muscle development, the size. It was very impressive when you saw her in the paddock, and it was not shocked she ran that big of a race after seeing her up close.
Yeah, she was nice.
I thought it was a different horse. I mean, like I was like, that doesn't look anything like who we saw in Arkansas. Like she put on weight. It looked like to me. It was just a different looking horse today for sure.
Yeah, It wasn't for obviously everyone here was rooting for Kathleen. No, that's where our money was at. But that was a nice consolation prize if you don't have her.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things that there's not. I mean, she just didn't run well. Kathleen, that is.
No. So that was the thing. Like I was telling you guys, if she gets beat a nose, I'm upset. I'm like, damn. But like when I turned home, it's like, well, I'm rooting for Secret Oath because we're not going to win.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell her deal was. She was awful, I thought.
She's just way too far back. And then she, like, Castellano made an inside move and then decided to swing 5 wide. And she didn't kick anyway. So it's not like even if she was able to save ground and get through the rail that she would have challenged Secret Oath at that point.
Yeah.
It was really, to me, Secret Oath was a tale of 2 jockeys, right? I mean, you switch from Luis Contreras, who kind of center a little early and center way wide, and you switch to Luis Saez, who rode her perfectly in this race. And the pace set up for, I thought Echo Zulu ran a hell of a race, being able to sit up close to those early fractions, not make the lead, which is what she wants to do, and still hang around for 4th. But, just when you saw that move around the turn that Secret Oath was making, you kind of knew it was over.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be tough for anyone to make up ground going this long for the first time against this field that just is just a dominant run.
Yep, for sure. And to be clear, with this comment, we're not talking about her race. We're talking about how she actually looked, like physically how she looked. We were live on the track in Arkansas, and she did not look that great. Today, she looked like $1 million. To be clear, again, we're not criticizing her race in Arkansas. Just physically, she looked different today, completely different. Just want to be clear.
She looked extremely fit, and that might have to do with the fact that how, there was a lot of talk about how hard he was working her. Dwayne prior to this, like maybe she, maybe overworked her. Well, she definitely was fit, and there's no doubt about that. And she ran, and honestly, she kind of just cruised. I mean, it didn't really seem like she. And he even alluded that in the press conference, which by the way was an awesome press conference. I mean, anytime it's like we went as soon as he won, we just went straight to the press room so we could watch because he's like, this is gonna be good.
He
didn't disappoint.
He was fantastic. One question I said, who do you like in the Kentucky Derby tomorrow? And he started the answer with, well, 6 of the jockeys should be bagging groceries. I'm like, oh my God. Like they asked who you're going to win the race, and that's what he said. So, I mean, it was an unbelievable process.
There's only one guy that can get away with saying that too, and that's him. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody laughed at him. If it was somebody else, they're like, they want to kill this guy. So.
Yeah, the trip was dramatically better for Secret Oath here. And,
sure.
and that's what the coach said in the press conference. They were talking about before the race, like maybe we'll finally get a good trip, because that seems like been the case with her. And well, they got Luis Saez on board, and you did get the good trip. So sounds like, I mean, we never know, but we know beforehand that was a thought, and now she wins the Oaks. Maybe we'll have a date with the Derby winner in the Preakness.
I'd be
100%,
shocked.
right?
I'd be shocked. You got to think she'll be in the Preakness.
Yeah. They even said, hey, if she runs okay, we're going to be in the Preakness. She was better than okay. So it's I don't think there's any doubt.
And okay, so to 1A that question, I mean, how serious is she? I mean, how
tell you tomorrow.
Well, okay. What was the number? 93?
94 buyer.
94.
And when you look at the it wasn't a great Oaks. That's the other thing. Like when you look at the actual internal fractions, the chart came out about 30 minutes ago. Yeah, she runs a 94 buyer. The opening quarter is 22 and change. They don't have a single quarter under 24 after that. I think they go low 24, and then everything else is high 24s or 25s. So it wasn't that fast of a race. Obviously, the 94 buyer kind of backs that up. That goes back to what she ran in Arkansas. She'd need to improve quite a bit in the Preakness to be able to beat the boys. This was not a good enough effort to get the job done.
No.
It's funny that just the fact that the press conference when we were in there was just
fantastic.
Yeah. This guy lives for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you can. That's the thing. You can like him, not like him, bet against him, bet her. It's like anytime that he's in the winner's circle, it's good TV.
Well, Jared brought this up, the comment about the Battaglia thing. Like he was making fun of Battaglia for the morning lines and how bad they are. He's like, he's trying to please this person that he went to high school with, and this person that's his neighbor, and on and on. He just went on a rant about it.
I just pulled up the quote. He goes, they asked her, they just kind of flying under the radar. He said, that's a good question, a good description of her. She does that. Yeah. There's one thing. She comes out of Arkansas, but now the morning line comes out on Monday, and Mike Battaglia has been doing this for years. And so here's how it works. Mike Battaglia is born in a stall over at Lexington. So he has to automatically take the Ashland winner and make it the favorite. Then he goes to the second place horse. Then he has to police some farm that he worked on as a hot walker as a kid. That's the second choice. Then the third choice, he has to pick somebody that he went to school with and hung out with at Malone's bar. And then that's the third choice. And now the fourth choice, we get Secret Oath. That's how it works. And only him, right? Only that guy can say that kind of stuff.
And again, anybody else.
And the place was dying,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I guess that's the question. I don't even, because the way it sounded, like even if she didn't win, there was a pretty decent shot she might run in the Preakness. So he's like, basically, he said, well, if we have a good run in the Oaks, that's where we'd go.
Yeah, I mean, she'll be there.
It does that. How are we? Because I've seen this comment or question on our social a little bit too tonight. Does it change at all how you feel about the Arkansas Derby and the horses that ran in the Arkansas Derby, to be specific, with Cyberknife, of course, winning that race? Does it change how you feel? Maybe that race wasn't as bad, or how are you feeling about that now going into tomorrow?
I don't take much out of it, honestly. I think she got a better trip. I think she got a better ride. I think if Luis Saez would have been aboard and gave her that ride in the Arkansas Derby, she would have won. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, obviously, it doesn't hurt those horses for sure, but I don't automatically go, well, okay, we got to play those two tomorrow that beat her in that race.
To me, like, this isn't even close to good enough to win the Derby, what we saw today. So I'm not going to upgrade the Arkansas horses because of what happened in this spot.
Yeah.
No. Well, I don't know about. I know we're not. There's no people alive. No dudes alive in the Oaks Derby double. We had Nest and Kathleen knows. So Nest, obviously.
She ran okay. Nest.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad. Echo ran okay.
But still, none of them ran great,
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest takeaway for me. Like, you didn't see a monster come out of here. Like, and that was, I think, one of the things we're all hoping is that we'd see like just this dominant filly come out of here. And there's obviously a ton of time for these horses to improve. It's earlier in the 3-year-old season, so you could see massive steps forward by any of them going toward later in the year. But I like, there wasn't the Monomoy Girl-esque performance out of this field today.
And that's a little frustrating considering, we talked about how good this field was and how, like, in the end, it was fair. There's 4 horses that we thought could win, and 2 of them ran 1-2. So it wasn't like it was shocking result necessarily, but it was just, especially the way Secret Oath won it, which was quite impressive. You would have thought, Somich, you kind of alluded to this here earlier with us. You're kind of expecting, like, maybe that was like a high 90s, low 100s buyer. Like, she just ran a huge race, and like, well, what can I do? Or what can you do? But when the horse runs basically the same buyer she's been running, and Kathleen O, by the way, ran a better buyer last time out, you're like, really?
Yeah.
That's a little frustrating.
1,000% it is. Yeah, that's the thing. When you pick a horse that has been running really good, ran a buyer last time out that is much better than what we saw out of her, it is a little bit frustrating. And I don't think we would have guessed a 94 could win this thing today, right?
No,
as good as these fillies were.
You set the under over at 94. I'm pounding the over.
Yeah.
So that's where it's kind of like, all right, well, I don't want to get too excited about the race, even though Secret Oath visually looked awesome.
Yep.
Coming around that far turn, making a nice move again around the far turn, was able to open up down the lane. So visually it looked great. The numbers just came back a little weaker than I think we all expected.
Yeah.
Hey, how about the weather? I mean,
yeah.
All that rain, man.
Unbelievable that we got away with this today. It rained hard, for like, 20 minutes? Maybe?
It'd go off and on.
Yeah.
But the sun would come out from, the sun was out for the first part of the day, mid part of the day, end of the day.
Yeah.
It was nice and kind of warm. Like, it was not what we were expecting. And honestly, I don't think we're going to be getting off and on other than that rain. I think tomorrow's track will be just fine.
It's not raining right now. It didn't rain the whole time we left the track. I think we're good. I mean, unless it's one of those things that for whatever reason it comes tomorrow and it's not in the forecast, it seems like we're going to be fine for this thing.
Maybe the disappointment. Okay, so another thought here is the fact that, you had Goddess of Fire who ran really poorly. Kathleen O obviously didn't run. So maybe that race wasn't as good as we thought it was, that being the Florida Oaks. And then, I'm looking through here. Nostalgic didn't run well. Hidden Connection definitely did not run well. Gary was second to last, and Vinci Valentine was last. Echo Zulu, I think she ran a solid race. I mean, I don't think she ran terrible, but she certainly, and again, it kind of talks about that when you look at that number, you're like, well, she probably could have held on better than that if that's how that buyer came back.
Yeah, the one thing you look at the chart, the first, third, and fourth place horses at the half-mile pole finished last, second to last, and third to last. Echo Zulu was in second, and she ends up running fourth here. And actually looked like she put up a fight down the lane too. So I think she clearly ran a pretty good race in that sense, where she did some of that dirty work, and she didn't get the lead either. That you got, she wants the lead. And so she never had the chance to do what she does best until maybe the middle of the turn. But at that point, she was already running on fumes. So I thought Echo Zulu's race was actually pretty good here, all things considered.
I think she ran wildly better today than she did at Fairgrounds last time out. And by the way, Hidden Connection, where was that horse?
That horse was right up front. It was on the pace, and she just quit.
Yeah,
she was just done.
Yeah. So and to your point, like you were saying, they ran those up. The 4 of them up there, 3 of them were third last, second last, and last, and Echo was able to stick around. So that's saying a lot. But at the same time, today there was no debate. Secret Oath was just better than these horses today.
Yep.
By a wide margin. You guys want to talk about Kathleen O. I've seen people on Twitter making excuses for her. I just don't see one.
Yeah, I mean, she got an 88 buyer today, Kathleen O. Massive progression. Yeah, maybe she bounced off that Florida race. Like, maybe that Florida race buyer is inflated. Like, but that's a massive drop from what we saw from her in Florida.
Yeah, she just didn't show up.
And that's what's interesting about her is, I mean,
there's a lot of people are like, well, she came too far back. Okay, so if she runs up and maybe gets second, I'll buy it, you know? Or it's like, well, he jolted her out to the outside real quick. Okay, yeah, but she saved ground all the way around there until he did that. It's not like she was wide on both turns, so he just didn't show up.
Henry says Shug isn't good. That's why she lost.
I mean, I'm sure people will say Castellano sucks too. So, you know,
you all are entitled to your opinions.
Yeah.
She didn't show up. That's the facts.
Yeah.
Why? That's up to anybody to say, right?
Yeah.
I know everyone keeps talking. Let's talk this about one more time. Everyone wants to know, you know, that this obviously means Barber Road is got to be improved tomorrow. It got to be bumped up because of today's effort. That Cyberknife certainly has to be bumped up because of today's effort, right?
No,
right.
I don't feel that way. Again, go back and watch the Arkansas. Okay, this would be a good thing to do. If not for what's going to happen in the Kentucky Derby, just to kind of see how big of an impact a jockey makes. A really good jockey versus one that's not. Look at the trip that she got in the Arkansas Derby and look at the trip she got today. That's the difference. That's the big difference in this race for Secret Oath. If you go back and watch her Arkansas Derby, she made a wildly impressive move, but she flattened out. She was too far back. He got her in trouble. You know, she flew as fast as she could, and then she flattened. Today, you had a jockey that got tactical position on the horse, made the move not early, but at the exact right time, because we didn't have to move early because we only had to pass a few of them, and just galloped home. So
with a beneficial pace setup.
Yeah, the jockey though made the difference in the race for me.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think you upgrade it. I think it's really hard to say that, because she ran well, now I'm going to bet Cyberknife. To me, that's a little...
Yeah.
No thanks.
How good is Secret Oath? Is she really good? Or is she taking advantage of, she was good, tried the boys, not very good. Now she came back, and maybe this class isn't great.
I think...
Here you go. Is she better or worse than Swiss Skydiver?
I don't think she's as good as Swiss Skydiver.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
The only thing that hurts her is I think we're sitting here saying though, she would be undefeated this year if Saez was on her in the Arkansas Derby. Now maybe she would be running tomorrow if she would have won the Arkansas Derby. And I think that Arkansas Derby kind of downgraded her, myself included, and she's really good, but I don't know that she's going to be a filly we look back on 5 years from now and talk about her, wow, she was unreal type. I don't think she's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's
really good. Yeah.
Probably not a Breeders' Cup winner, you think?
When you think of Latruska and you think of Amalafat and you think of Pauline's Pearl, even, I don't know that, when you look at the Breeders' Cup crop that might be there, I don't think she can beat them right now.
She's very honest though. You give her that.
Yeah. She's going to show up.
She gives you an effort, really, every time.
Every time.
And
even when she had the poor trip, she ran.
Yeah.
She just flattened because it was so terrible what happened,
Anyways, all right. All right. So obviously the Oaks is in the book. Let's look at the Derby briefly. We talked about, if you want to listen to the Derby podcast we did last night, we covered that, gave our picks and insight. Of course, we got a ton of Derby information on the website, racingnews.com, as well as on our YouTube channel, YouTube/racingnews. But let's take an early look here. Of course, the early odds are out on for the Derby. And let's see. Well, my screen is not going to let me. Chrome has lost permission.
I got you.
This is last night, too.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, Somich has got me.
Here we go.
But Taba and Epicenter are your co-favorites now at 5-2-1 in the early betting. Of course, this is very, very small handle in right now, very early. So, of course, that could change. But it does give you an indication of how this thing is going to be bet. Obviously, the Taba 12-1 is a pipe dream now. So you're going to get 5-1, 6-1, probably somewhere in that range on Taba. I don't know that he's going to go off the favorite, but he's definitely going to be their second, maybe third choice of this race, whereas he might flip with Messier in terms of being the better value of the Yaffords.
100%. Yeah, this is we kind of expected 6 to 8 to 1, 5 to 1. We're getting a little dicey. I think Somich said last night though. Listen, SA is going to be the longer price, and I think that is going to clearly happen. So that's really, this is like the odds you're seeing, and that's kind of what we thought. I think the one big surprise to me is Taba as a 3 to 1 favorite. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's all also like grain of salt here, right? Because look at the advanced on-track wagering handle. We're talking $9,000. You know, it's not like we're taking huge amounts of money there in the on-track handle. When you look at the Oaks Derby double, Epicenter is going to be the favorite there at $25. Then you got Taba sitting at $32, Zandon $36, and then Messier $40. Kind of the order that we expected them to be in last night is what we're seeing now. Epicenter clearly looks like it's going to be the favorite tomorrow in the Derby. You've seen that everywhere overseas, and now you're also seeing that here in the Oaks Derby double as well. Yeah. I would expect that, you know, and I think that's a typo, by the way, on Mo Donegal on that first list, because they don't have $9,000 there. He'd be the favorite if he was. So I would expect that you're going to see Epicenter as a favorite tomorrow at 4 to 1, right? And you're going to get 9 to 2, 5 to 1, 5.5 to 1, somewhere in that range, probably 5.5 to 1 on Taba as your second choice. And I think Zandon will be right there too. I think they'll go back and forth between the two of them.
Yeah. Which is crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but it does. We talked about earlier how it's like, well, thankfully we did get 12 to 1 on him starting off, or else that 5 to 1 may have been docked even harder. Yeah. On Taba, and he may have gone off as a favorite. So he can only take so much money. And really, if you look at Epicenter, he's definitely, you know, I think I said it on the poster. I was like, I thought he deserved to be the favorite. Yeah. You know, even though I get that I'm going to try to play against him, like when you look at just what he's done this year compared to Zandon, he deserves to be the favorite. And I think the public is going to bet that way.
1,000% he should be the favorite in the race based on resume. They're really, you can't argue it, right? Messier, if he would have won the San Diego Derby, then maybe you could make that argument. Maybe he would be the favorite and be deserving. But when you look at what the horses have done in their body of work, Epicenter should be the favorite. Yeah.
How about Happy Jack at 22?
I mean, it's just not just insane.
Well, again, look at the handle. Like this, your favorite Epicenter is $6,500 to bet on him in a pool that will accumulate $41 million. Right. So like we're talking like 1% of the votes in here, guys. Like you're gonna see a lot bigger handle, and this is also the people that are choosing to bet the day before in advanced wagering pool. So it's gonna get a little funky. I think when this kind of evens out, and you can see this. I mean, Happy Jack is $600 in the daily double. That's the second longest daily double. The only one longer is Rich Strike is the longest. Mm-hmm. Then you've got Happy Jack, and then Tawny Port. So you're going to see a massive number on Happy Jack tomorrow. So these numbers are a little misleading. I look at the double odds more than I look at the actual odds for the advanced wagering right now.
Now, one thing I'll say though, with a horse like Happy Jack, you're not betting the name Jack in doubles.
That's
so hit that aspect of him for the Derby is good for actual bettors, right? It's like, oh, his name's Jack. Great. It's like with my boy Jack, right? Now he was obviously a little bit better horse, but he took a lot of dead money.
Now the Zandon starts to creep up there. Now that, you know, we were like, oh, I can't play him at the favorite. That's crazy. But now you're like, oh, 7 to 1, 8 to 1. Like now does it become? Because like I wonder if he would have been this price morning line if you would have been like, that's the value. That's a pick.
This is the thing that's wildly frustrating about the morning line, right? If he actually goes off at 8 to 1, all of a sudden everything we said is out the window because we were thinking he's 3 to 1 and he's 8 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, look, you still feel Taba's the most talented horse. You would still pick Taba even at the 5 to 1, 8 to 1 numbers. Right. Again, I think based on the double prices, you're going to see a very close choice between the two of them. And so it's really, who do you like more, Zandon or Taba? However, Zandon becomes much more bettable at 5 or 6 to 1. Yeah. I am like as a win bet probable horse like that. All of a sudden you don't need to get cute. You don't need to be like, I'm going to try and find a double with him. I'm going to try and find a way to bet him in the exact. All of a sudden the win bet becomes a much more long-term profitable bet versus trying to find a way to get the proper price on him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if this is any indication of how he is going to be bet, which honestly is not, that's shocking. I mean, that's kind of what he deserved to me, in my opinion. He deserved to be, because it's like, even though he won the Bluegrass, still to be the favorite of the morning line favorite of the Derby was just insanity. Yeah. And you had to know that Taba would be bet hard, considering what he did in that San Diego Derby. So It doesn't change, but it does. It definitely offers some. If we're sitting there looking at Taba at 5-1 and Zandon at 9-1 or 8-1, you're like, ooh, that's appealing as well.
Yeah, I know. It's a very it's just, again, it never made sense what their odds were, and we knew that, right? It's just you were never going to get any of those odds that he set them. It was just a weird line.
Well, it definitely was, and we wondered how that would be played out, just given some of these odds. You look at, of course, we don't know you think is Modonigal 7-1 correct? I guess
no, that's incorrect. No, I think the 7-1 is correct. I think
not the handle.
The handle is incorrect.
Yeah.
So he's bet down from that 10-1, which I don't know if I wouldn't play him at 7-1.
And that, I mean, it makes sense with the price of the double, right? I mean, if you're staring, if he's, the crazy part is like Charge sitting at $67 in this double. So Charge It's going to get hammered tomorrow, if that's correct. You're looking at like 12-1 on Charge It. So it's interesting to see a couple of these horses that are going to get bet down pretty hard off these lines. But that's what you're going to, if you have the favorites going off at 5-1, you're going to get a lot of horses coming down from their morning line odds, because to go to 3-1 and 7-2 to 5-1 each in a pari-mutuel pool, it takes a lot of money on some other horses.
We've harped on this. Obviously, I think we're at the end of this as far as how the race is going to play. If you want, if you want to listen to our thoughts of the race, last night's podcast, go look at the last podcast or go to our YouTube page to watch that video.
Or any other 100 videos on the page.
If you want to know my exact thoughts, Halterman's exact thoughts, or Somich's exact thoughts, it's all out there. I think the biggest thing you can take away from this, at least what we probably will see tomorrow, there's two things. One, seems like we're going to have a very normal running of the race. There shouldn't be any issues with there. Number two is these odds are starting to kind of do this, where it's like, okay, now you kind of get to pick your horse here. Odds aside, it kind of feels like Zandon playable, Epicenter playable, Taba playable, Messier play. You know what I mean? So like everyone's kind of balancing out, and honestly, that's the way it should be, because that's the kind of year it's been with these horses.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've said it for a while now. It's like, this is a very competitive group. It's got 4 or 5 top heavy horses that are really competitive. And then that next group, and John White alluded to this, when you get past your top 3, 4, or 5 horses, the next kind of tier, there's a bunch of them. It's not just, okay, here's 2 or 3, and then we can throw everybody else out of making an impact. The next 8 or 9 could get up for 3rd or 4th type of thing. So yeah, I mean, they're grouping together, and that makes more sense than what kind of we were given.
Yeah, I mean, he even said, like, if you listen to the John White interview we did with him, it's like he gave out, there's 13 horses that he thought had a chance to make noise in the Derby. 13, which is kind of crazy.
When you see an odds board like this too, it means the try is going to pay. It means the super is going to pay. It really helps out all those the single race bets are all going to get ballooned up. Because you don't have a standout favorite. You don't have even a 5-2 shot in a 20 horse field is a horse that a lot of people are going to put on top by itself and then spread underneath. It's really hard to do that when 5-1 is the favorite. It's hard to be that confident in the horse. It's going to set up so that the in race exotics are going to pay really well in this spot.
Yep.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That's it. You're gonna be able to get paid for your opinions tomorrow, and that's really the way the day should go. In terms of, if you have an opinion on, Taba would have obviously been more appealing at 10-1, but to me, if you like a horse, don't let the odds, at this point, don't let the odds sway from 10-8 or 10-6 or whatever, to make you like, well, now I've got to change my horse. Stick with it.
Yep.
Barbara Road, that's your horse. Stick with it.
I mean, if it's your horse, it's your horse. So yeah, there's really not going to be a lot of adjusting to make you go, oh, we can't do that.
All right. Final picks. We're going to give them again.
Yeah, we'll do it one last time. And gosh, here we go. Taba. I still think, like I said, I thought 5-6-1 probably where we'd get, maybe 8 if we got lucky. We're sitting at 5. Hopefully he floats up a little bit, but it's still Taba for me. And the last vote of confidence, the speed figure maker that I kind of trust the most, like the most, Craig Mikowski for Timeform, came out with his picks. Taba was the top pick today, so that was kind of like, okay, that's even another thing that makes me feel good about it.
Messier. I think Taiba and Messier are the best 2 horses in the race, but I think Messier is going to be better than he was in the San Diego Derby, and I think he's going to be the horse in the lead at the top of the stretch. Who won the Oaks today? Horse in the lead at the top of the stretch. I'll take that horse in the Derby 10 times out of 10, and I feel like I'm getting a more than fair price if I'm getting 8-1 on Messier.
Yep. I can't argue with either one of your points. I'm on the Taiba bandwagon, but I also like Messier a lot. After the last night's show, I was editing it and putting it out and putting it for the podcast version. We watched last year's running of the Derby, and go watch that race, and because it kind of opens your eyes a little bit to what you might see tomorrow in terms of how we kind of think this thing could unfold. Of course, Medina Spirit being Messier and Taiba. Well, hopefully he finishes better than Helium did. But in terms of Helium, did draw the 12 hole that year, and watch how he comes out of the gate. Look where gets in position in that first turn as relation to Medina, and of course you see. I think who was it classic. Our classic Causeway, but who was the horse on the outside that came out with the speed? Was it Super Sandwich?
Super Sandwich was out there in second. Yeah.
So it kind of when you watch, it's like, oh, that's that horse. So if you're looking for the 12, how the 12 might break tomorrow being Taiba, that was a nice little okay. I'd like that. I'd like to see that trip on the first part of the race, and with Messier, he of course Medina Spirit had the 8 holes, so very similar in terms of draws. So you kind of can see how this race could possibly unfold early in the race. And so that's kind of I don't know, just a thought to kind of go back through and watch some replays.
Yeah.
But Taiba, that's my pick. That's it. I'm ready.
Let's run.
I'm done.
Really, it's time, right? Like it's past time to run this race. Yeah. I'm so glad tomorrow when we get on this, we're talking about it being over and we can analyze what's going to happen next and what we saw, other than to try to go over this one more time, because we've talked it to death. It's time.
Block Party says it's hilarious after bashing Bob. You guys are unanimously selecting his horses. Good luck and thank you for donations.
Well, and again, this is what I've told people, and they continue not to get it. It's not. We're talking about. We're trying to pick a winner of the race, right? Yeah. This is betting. This is not. Hey, we hate somebody, so we're not going to pick them.
Yeah, pick the best horse.
You try to pick the best horse. Exactly.
That with your head, not with your heart.
And I said this last night. I don't care who trains the horse as far as I hate them or I love them. I just try to pick the horse I think is going to win. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
If Steve Asmussen had Taiba, I wouldn't be picking Bob's horse. Right? I'd be picking Asmussen's horse because he would have Taiba,
Yeah, it's just nuts.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, Block Party.
Well, Block Party, this is what it is. The thing is, like, I went through that early on whenever still 2-0.
Yeah.
I went through that early on with like you and I had talked about that with like when I was like, I don't want to bet any Baffert horses. I'm tired. I tried to beat him every race. You're like, well, at a certain point, that doesn't become a very positive.
You're lighting mine on fire.
Yeah.
Just because you dislike someone.
Yeah. And here's what happened. Life is Good romped in the San Felipe, and Jared was like, he's not that good because he hated Bob Baffert. And I said, look, you're going to have to, like, you're looking at it because you hate this guy. He is good. Like, this actually is a really good horse. And you're like, yeah, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
So I get it, but we're talking about gambling here. This is even D. Wayne said this is a cold, hard game, and I've got to play the horse I think is the best horse, no matter who has it.
All right, that's a wrap. Of course, you can go to racingnews.com to get all our information and picks for tomorrow's massive 2022 Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby wager guide now available. The 28-page wager guide is out. We've got that, of course, for tomorrow's card, the entire card of tomorrow. All our top 4 picks included in that as well, and the live bankroll is still going on. We kind of had an up and down day. We had a few cash tickets we, of course, missed in the Oaks, but have a ton of plays for Saturday as well. So that go to racingnews.com to go get the inside track to the 2022 Kentucky Derby wagering guide. Remember, all our videos, all our podcasts are available on our website at racingdudes.com. You can go to the podcast page to get access to those. Of course, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places you listen to your podcasts, and, of course, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for everyone that's tuning in. And continue to hit the like and subscribe button when you're on those, because we have more videos coming out. And of course, we'll have a ton of recaps and analysis, some trip breakdowns, and all, you name it, after the Derby. Kind of go through this race. Of course, it's because there's going to be one or two horses that get bad trips, right? Well, one or two horses you wanted to, that maybe had a shot, that get a bad trip or whatever, and you can we can break that down, and we'll get through this together. Hopefully, we get the Yaffert double tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see.
They got to line them up. You got, what's D. Wayne say? You can't mail them in.
No, you can't mail them in. That's why
gotta
they run them. Yep, you got to go out there and do it.
There you go. So hopefully we get a winner tomorrow. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. He's Mike Somich. If you're going to be there tomorrow at the track, hit us up. Hopefully the weather's nice. Good luck in the Derby.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,